Hello, you're welcome to this video, and my name is Elogene. I'm a software engineer, and in this video we are going to be looking at a certain coding challenge. Yeah, it's quite easy but tricky. So this challenge requires that we use set in working out its solution. But the first solution that I'm going to be solving with you would not require set. We're going to do this, and then in the next video, we're going to look at the set solution to this. So the question here, the challenge here, is to find a duplicate number or duplicate numbers in an array. This is a challenge. A duplicate is a number whose value appeared earlier in the list. A duplicate is a number whose value appeared earlier in the list. Given a list of numbers, return an array with all the duplicates in the order that they appear. So duplicates that appear multiple times should be printed multiple times. Use Ruby's set class to solve the challenge. So like I said, we're required to use set. But before we use set, we're going to solve this with another regular method, and then we'll get to the set solution in the next video. So this is solution without set. All right. So again, we are meant to return an array with all the duplicates in the order that they appear. And duplicates that appear multiple times should be printed multiple times. All right. So we are taking in an array. We are returning an array of duplicates, and duplicate numbers are expected to appear as many times as they exist in the original array. All right. So let's get right to the solution. So right here, I have cloned the challenge, and I'm currently on VS Code. So from what I see, we have a function. The function does an error. They're just messing with the code. Okay, so the function is called find duplicate. Takes in an array, and we're aware of what we're returning: an array of duplicates and existing or printed as they occur in duplicates in the original array. All right, so let's head over to our whiteboard. Let's check this out. All right, so for example, so while the whiteboard is loading, as usual, I would prefer to copy what I have here into CodePen so I can do some console logs conveniently. Okay, so now the whiteboard is up. So I'm going to show us some steps. Like I'm going to show us an array and then come up with the steps, the algorithm with which I will provide a solution to this challenge. The first thing I will come up, this is, for example, let's say this is an array of 1, 2, 4, 6, 2, 1. Yeah. Okay. So this is an array. We can see that we have duplicates. We have duplicates 1, 2, just 1 and 2 occurring twice in this array. Okay. Now, how can we go through this array? How can we find the duplicates in this array? So that is similar to when one is given a box of balls and told to sort the balls in their colors. It means I have to look into that box of balls. So a way to look into this array is to use a for loop. So I'm going to use a for loop to iterate through this array while I find my duplicates. So I'm just going to put it out there. So we're going to loop. I'm going to loop through the array. Great. Now, while we loop, as I loop, I'm going to pick this number, and then I'm going to check if this already exists, right? If this exists, of course, when I pick it, it means it exists here in this array. I'm not picking from one array to check if this array has that number. I'm picking a number from this array, so that means it exists. So what am I meant to do? How can I check for duplicates? So how about I simply pick one, and I have something like a register. I have something like a register. So I have something like a register where I can store my key as 1, and then when it is stored there, I know that it appeared once, right? Then I go and pick 2 and check if 2 exists or in this register. If it doesn't exist in this register, then I'm going to register it, and then I give it a count of 1. That is, I found 2, I picked out 1 from this array, I registered it. That is, I have my first occurrence of 1, and I picked out 2. Then I register it, and I also include that I have my first occurrence of 2. Then I pick out 4, my first occurrence of 4. Then I take out 6, my first occurrence of 6. Then I come and I find 2 again. Remember, I'm looping. In looping, it means I'm going to head from one number to another number to another number to another number. So I'm picking and I'm checking my register. If it doesn't exist in the register, then I will register and also take into account the occurrence, right? So now that I have gotten to 2 again, and I check the register and I find out now that 2 already exists in this register, what I need to do is to say +1, second occurrence. Sorry, that shouldn't be 2, second occurrence, which is equal to 2, that it is occurred twice. I get to 1. Yeah, I'll check. 1 already exists in this register, and then, of course, plus 1 more occurrence equals 2 occurrences. So which of them are the duplicates here? These are the duplicates. These ones occurred just once. These ones occurred just once, while these ones occurred twice. Now, according to what is required in the question, we have to ensure that these duplicates appear multiple times, or duplicates that appear multiple times should be printed multiple times. In other words, rather than saying that our duplicate array contains just 1 and 2, we're going to say we're going to return a duplicate array that contains 1, 2, 2, 1. In that order, 1, 2, 2, 1. Or it's just going to be 2, 1. Or just 2, 1. 2, 1. I think because it means if we include the first occurrence, that means we are going to have. If we're going to take into account the first occurrences, it means we're going to have 4 and 6. So what I see here is that the first occurrence should not be taken into account. So it is only when we find duplicates, when it's occurring again, then we have 1 and 2, the second occurrence, and 1. So this is what we're going to return, 2 and 1. Okay, so algorithm sorted. So in what format are we going to have this register? So I'm saying that we could put it in an object form, because objects allows us to have key value pairs, and we can also update the key. We can add more keys and also update the values. So now let's get right into the code. I wouldn't be coding straight on into VS Code at the moment. I will be doing the coding in CodePen. One thing I need to sort out now is take out this console log. Okay, I'll take out this console log. And I am ready. So let's start by initializing our constants. So the return array or result would be an empty array. And then we'll have the objects called register here, an empty object. Remember, the object registers each of the numbers in the incoming array, the input, and then also registers their count, your occurrence count in that array. And when we are done looping through the array and doing all the registrations within the register, I'm also going to go through the register to find those keys whose values are greater than 1, 2 above, and do something, right? Okay, and push them here. So let's get right into the code. So first, I'm going to use my for loop num of array. So if you're used to using the usual counts, like for I equals 0, the condition for stopping or the termination of the for loop, and then the incrementals or decremental, and you're quite new to this kind of for loop expression, then I'll let you know that when in a case where you're sure that you're starting from the beginning to the end, you can use this. You use the other method right? That is when you have for I equals 0, whatever. When you initialize you use that when you are, trying to start from somewhere different order from the first position to, and you are trying to stop somewhere. When the start and the end is not really from start to finish. It's you're starting from somewhere, ending at somewhere, or starting from the beginning and ending at somewhere. You can also use that. However, you can use that also here, but this method just serves right. So I'm going to make use of this particular method of expression. So for norm of array, so that is norm is not, it's just like a variable, like your x, like your I. It's just a variable. But it is representing each number that exists in the array, each of these numbers in the array. So for norm of array, so the first one is 1. We're going to check if it exists in the register. So if register norm, that is, if this is true, right? If this is true, what should happen? Now, if register num, now I have a little pause here. There are different ways, or a few ways, to access values in an object. You can use the dot notation. You can manipulate values in an object using dot notation. And you can also use this array or index square bracket method as well. Now, in that square bracket you see there, that is in this square bracket here, what goes in there is the key, the property in that object, right? The properties. You just directly aim at the property, and with that you can also update the value. Okay, you can also use dot notations as well. So in this case I'm using this, and so if this is true, that only means that it exists. It already has a count of 1, because if it's there, it means I've updated this to 1 already. So what do I do when it's already there? I just add 1 to it. I just increment it by 1. And that is what I will do now. I'm just going to say register num plus plus. So it just increases the value of that key in the register object. Else, what if it doesn't exist? What if it doesn't exist? Then we will register num and then assign it to 1. That is first occurrence, occurs 1, just found 1. And when it is found again, they will increase by 4, and then it becomes 2. And then if it happens again, it becomes 3, and all, and what have you. So that is it. So at this moment, I would like to do something, and that would be to console log the object register, so we can see what I have right now, what the result is, what we have inside the object after looping through the array. Okay, after looping through the array. All right. So I'll run the code. All right, so it has been displayed on our console. Now you can see that for 1, okay, for 1 here, it occurs twice. We have that 2. For 2 occurs twice, we have the value as 2. 3 occurs once, we have the value as 1. 5 occurs twice, we have the value of 2, and so on and so forth. So our register has registered all of our numbers, and also have their values updated right according to their occurrence. So in other words, we can proceed to check this register for all the keys or properties that have their values greater than 1, right? And then we can push them into our return array, that is our result here, and have our solution for this challenge. So let's head to that right now. So now it means I'm going to, in order to go through each of these objects, in order to go through the objects, each of the key value pairs, the properties within this object, I also need to go in. I also need to use the for loop. All right, so I'm going to make use of the for loop to go through each of the properties, and I'm going to say num in register, num in register. Now there is a difference when you're working with arrays. You say num of array, num of a number of a member of an array, and then when it's register, number in, and when it's object, number in, num in objects, num of an array, or items in an array of array. Okay, so if that helps to me, then all right. So now we are about to iterate through the object, and what will happen now is that we're going to check for register num. Now the num there is each of the keys. That's the num for each of the keys in the value. If the key, right, in this object, this particular key, the value greater than what? Greater than 1. What are we going to do? We're going to push. So we have results dot push num. So this will go through all the keys in the register, check if their value is greater than 1, and push those ones that meet that condition. After which we can console log, let's console log the return result array to see what we have. So I'll just run that. So I'm expecting 1 and 2 from what I see here. 1 and 2. Okay, right? Okay, 1, 2, and 5. 1, 2, and 5. So that's what we have here. 1, 2, and 5. Okay, great job to this point, but something is still missing. Something is still missing, and that is this condition that duplicates that appear multiple times should be printed multiple times. All right, so how can that be achieved? At the moment, we have the keys that duplicate, numbers that are duplicates printed out. But how can we have it printed multiple times? In a case where we have 2 again, let us update this array, and we have 2 again, right? So we want to see 2 multiple times printed as well, not just 1, 2, 5. We want to see the 1, 2, 2, 5. So I'll run the code to see if our solution or my solution at this moment satisfies that. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And from what I see in my solution, it doesn't satisfy that condition because I first of all registered all of them, all the numbers in the array with their corresponding occurrence, and then I'm checking through the register to find only the ones that are that have keys greater than 1, that occur more than once, that are duplicates. So a way to make this meet that condition is to, within this statement again, I'm going to do another loop, looping through the occurrence and pushing on each of the loop. So for example, if the occurrence is 2 or the occurrence is 3, right? If it meets this condition, within this condition, it is greater than 1, I'm going to loop through the occurrence. So if the occurrence is 3, I'm going to loop 3 times, and then I'm going to loop 3 times, and then push num each time the loop occurs. If the occurrence is 4, that is the value is 4, I'm going to loop 4 times and then push 4 times. Well, there is an easy way to do that. You can also do that. It's just to put in your normal for loop with the I equals 0, I less than whatever length. So the length will be I less than register dot num, register num, right? I less than register num, right? Whatever register num is, right? So it's going to look like that, and then you increment I until it stops there. But you can try that out if you want. But I think I have come up with something easier than this, that would also shorten our lines of code. And to do that, all I need to do is every time, as long as I am going to be incrementing the value, like it searches the register and it checks the register and finds to see if it already exists. So that is, if it already exists, I'm incrementing. So every time there is a check and that number exists in the register, that is in the objects, and then we're going to increment the value again. Rather than doing the incrementing of the value, why not just push? So every time that number is already a member of the register, we just push it rather than just incrementing it and then coming back again to loop through the increment, the value that has the increment or the value, right? And then push again. So it's just like a double route to the same place. What I'll do is take out this part of the code. We don't need that part of the code at all. I need to be sure I took out the complete. Yeah, took it off. So what I need to do is, maybe perhaps before or after incrementing, I just push result.push. What are we pushing? None. So if it can increment it, it could just push. But we are pushing only when that number already exists in the object, register object. If it already exists there, then we push to say we just found a duplicate. If it already exists again, then we push to say we just found a duplicate, right? So this just worked for us. Just one line of code, and we have met that condition. So I'll run it to check. So just lift up these panels. Good. So we have 1, 2, 2, 5, 2. So you see we have double 2. Now I'm going to console log the register to show us the frequency that currently exists in the object. You can see here 1, 2, 2, 5, 2. So 2 appears 4 times. Now remember, when it's once, we don't count that. Otherwise, okay, 2 is appearing 3 times. Pardon me, please, it's 3 times. 1, 2, 2, 2, right, in the occurrence. Now, we don't count when it's 1 because it means we're going to have everything as in our return array. They are not duplicates, they only exist. So we start counting duplicates when it increases from 1. Okay, and from our array here, 1, 2, in this first occurrence, we are not going to push in anything. We're not putting any number. It's not, they're not seen as duplicates, so they remain the way they are outside our result array. We meet the first duplicate, which is 1. It has already found 1 before, and if it already exists, we push in 1. We go to 5, that's our first occurrence. 6, our first occurrence. 7, our first occurrence. 8, our first occurrence. 2, 2 has existed, already exists in our register object, so it has occurred before, so we just push 2, so we have 2. And then we go again, we meet 2 again, it already exists, all right, and so then we push 2. 5, I think we found 5 before, 5 already exists, then we push 5. 2 already exists, we push 2. So that's what happened. But on the first occurrence, we have no business pushing them into our return array. So that's it. I'll take this and then update what I have here and return. I would not be console logging, I just return result. Okay, so I'll save and run my tests. npm tests. npm tests. Okay. Waiting to see. Okay, so for passing, all test cases passed. All right, so we're done with this solution. In this solution, we did not use set class at all. We did not make use of set class at all. I will be putting up another video to handle using set class to solve this same challenge. However, I have thought about this now, that if you can solve this using set class, please drop the solution in the comment section and I will get to you. If it's okay with you, I would like to have you in the next video, the next coding challenge, where you will explain to us and to me how you came about that solution as well. So I'll be glad to feature you as a guest, please. So if you can solve that between now and when that's and a few days or a few moments from now that you've seen the video, just drop your set solution in the comment section, and then we have you as a guest, and where you're going to put us through. So thank you for joining me in this challenge. I look forward to more challenges and solving more challenges with you as well. Thank you.